Welcome to the Citizen Report. Coming up, a storm of epic proportions. As Hurricane Florence barreled towards the Carolina coast, customers rushed to local grocery stores as they prepared for the storm. I spoke with a local grocery store employee on what he witnessed. Also ahead, the science behind hurricanes and how to understand them. We'll take a closer look. Plus, as store shelves empty and gas stations dry up, do you know how to prepare for the next big storm? And a clip of a mainstream news reporter dramatizing the hurricane's winds, taking the internet by storm.
This is the Citizen Report with Jonathan Shannon.
Good morning. A lot to get to in this short time we have today, but we begin with the impact of Hurricane Florence. The storm, at its strongest point, was a Category 4 storm. The storm originally formed in late August. It weakened as it slowly moved across the northern Atlantic towards America. It came ashore on September 14th as a Category 1 storm at Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, with winds sustained at 90 miles per hour. The North Carolina towns of Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, New Bern, and many other towns now face the long road to recovery. And although the storm is now history, its effects, no doubt, will be felt for weeks, months, perhaps even years to come. But as the storm was on its approach to the Carolinas, local residents flocked to area grocery stores to prepare. Indeed, there is much to be learned from this storm. For example, store shelves emptied out of several essential goods long before the storm even arrived. Also, before the storm had finished, local gas stations were starting to run out of gas. Now, just a short time ago, I spoke with James Briggs, who currently works for a local grocery store. He recounts what he saw as people prepared. And with me now is James Briggs, who works at a local grocery store retailer. James, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on here.
So when did your store become aware of the hurricane?
I would say maybe a week or two ahead of its arrival, because I remember asking one of my managers, Patrick, about it, and he goes, yeah, we're going to start getting some emergency trucks with like some food and water and stuff on it.
Okay, and when you first became aware, what steps did you take did your store take to prepare?
Well, one, they knew water was going to go fast. Mm-hmm. So they ordered, I think, maybe 8 pallets of water, of 24 packs of Food Line water, and we staged them up front so people can get them right away. And basically, the day that I came in, well, it came in 2 days before the hurricane. I worked both the days, and all my job was to bring waters up there. People need help getting the waters on their carts. People were just buying them like crazy. Like, I need 9 of these. I'm like, okay, I don't know how bad this hurricane is going to be.
Right.
But yeah, I was doing that and stocking the shelves. Like, I wasn't even supposed to do the truck that day, but the truck got there, and I was just stocking the truck, getting food on the shelf, mainly water.
Okay. Was water the only thing that customers were coming in to buy?
No. I know, like, ravioli, like the cans and stuff like that,
yeah,
that went fast.
So, like, non-perishable foods then?
Yeah, like stuff in cans and stuff like that, all that went fast. Like, we didn't have, like, SpaghettiOs and ravioli for, like, a day or two ago, I think, which is a couple days past the storm now.
Right. I went to the local Walmart store, and I noticed people were doing a raid basically on eggs. Did you see that at your store?
Oh, yes. Eggs was going and milk. Because right now, we don't even have milk right now, because all the milk that is ordered is going to the coast.
Oh, wow. So the area that's affected then.
Yeah, they keep coming in and saying, what's up with the milk? Are y'all getting some in? And I was like, I think we may be getting some in today, but like everything else is going to the coast. I keep telling customers that everything we get goes to the coast to help them. Even my store manager, he's a part of the recovery team for Food Line, so he's at the coast too.
What would you say was the customer's demeanor? Like, what was their attitude? Panic, calm, something in between?
I would say most of them's calm, but every once in a while you get the person who's like, I need water, I need this, I need that. You can tell them, like, do you have this? Do you have it in the back? When's it coming? And it's like, one, we already got the truck. Like, we didn't know if it's getting another emergency truck at one point, like the day before the storm was actually supposed to hit. and it was just like they kept. Some of them just most of them calm, like I said, most of them calm. But like every once in a while, you get that one customer who's just like, I need it. And they're like, can you go to the back? Can you talk to your manager? I'm like, yeah, give me a second. Let me see what happens.
Yeah.
But mostly no. Water went at least a day, maybe two before the storm, and we just had like single bottle of water, and then like the expensive kind, which is like Voss water,
right,
which people don't want to pay like $5 for like a bottle of water and stuff like that. And some people, if it wasn't a 24 pack, like I don't want it. There's like little 6 packs of water. Like I don't want that. I'm like, well, if your power goes out, at least you have something, you know.
Right.
They just wanted the 24 packs, and then some people didn't want the Food Line brand. Like, well, I want Nestle or I want Aquafina. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we don't have it right now, and the Coke guy brings like Aquafina in, so there's nothing we can do about that. So.
And did your store expect to run out of these foods?
Yes. Again, I talked to my manager Patrick like a week or two in advance. He said the last time we ordered so many of water or food just to prepare, and he said it still went. He said it's like people just go crazy for it.
Okay. Could you tell that the customers? Could you tell that based on their attitude that they've been through a hurricane before, or?
No, I would say like it was like their first. Like again, it was my first experience because the last one that hit here was Hugo.
Right.
And the older people like remember how it was. I guess that maybe why they was like, we got to get our stuff and get out of here.
Yeah.
Because that one was pretty bad from what I heard. I wasn't alive, so I have no idea. But I think some of the older ones, the younger ones, was just like, I think those are the calm ones. They was like, we can get what we need and go.
Right. And then what advice would you give to somebody that is looking to prepare before a hurricane even forms? Like, what steps they could take to avoid perhaps going to the store and realizing that they can't get what they need?
Maybe just if you have like a building or something like that, or like somewhere you could store stuff, buy something that you can last a long time, like a couple cases of water, keep it in there, some canned foods that last years on end that maybe you have to check in like 5 years or something like that.
Right.
Just stuff that you can I don't have to go to the store. Like you said, I don't have to go to the store to get this. I already have it in my shed or my storage building. I just got to go get it and get it out and get it ready.
Okay. All right. James Briggs, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And my thanks again to James Briggs for coming on my show. All right, so moving along now, and our time's getting away from us rather quickly here, but I want to tell you a few items you could consider having in your household in order to be prepared for if there's another hurricane. Perhaps keeping water on hand, like bottled water or gallons of water, for every person and pet in your household for at least 5 days. A first aid kit would also be good. Canned goods, or in other words, non-perishable foods. High energy foods like those bars that you get for like a camp out or hiking or something, those would be really good as well. If you take prescription drugs, I would have enough to last through the storm and for some time afterward, because you never know if your pharmacy might be closed for a time even after the hurricane has passed. Keeping plenty of batteries on hand, like AA's, AAA's, even like say 9 volt or one of those other battery types as well. Plenty of batteries. A flashlight as well. This is not required in order to be prepared, but I would recommend a battery-operated radio, maybe even a battery-operated television. Of course, I'm talking about the battery-operated televisions that can pick up digital stations, not the old analog stations. And I would recommend keeping some cash on hand, because you never know if you might be able to go to a store after a hurricane, but their credit card machine or the network is down. You just want to make sure you're able to still exchange or barter, and you want to make sure you can continue being able to acquire stuff. And then if you have pets like I do, I would recommend keeping canned pet food on hand as well. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the science of hurricanes, or more specifically, rather, the process, if you will, of a hurricane going from basically nothing to a monster hurricane. Hurricanes start off as what is called a tropical disturbance. these tropical disturbances, not always, but they tend to come off the western coast of Africa. If you're watching a news report or a weather report during hurricane season and you're wondering why they seem to pay a little more attention to that part of the Atlantic, the reason is because hurricanes tend to originate from that part of the world. They're just basically organized areas of thunderstorms, but they're not really organized insofar as being like a depression or a storm. They're just organized enough that they're a system of their own at that point. Now, if the meteorologists at the National Hurricane Center consider it worthy enough, they'll label it an area of investigation, or in other words, INVEST. Now, once the system has developed enough, it's basically become a spinning area of low pressure. It is then called a tropical depression. Now, if that same system develops to the point of having sustained winds of at least 39 miles an hour, it is then upgraded to a tropical storm. At that point, it is assigned a name. And then, if that same storm continues developing and it reaches a sustained wind, measurement of at least 74 miles an hour, it will then be a hurricane. And there are 5 categories to a hurricane, which come from the Saffir-Simpson scale, and they're based off the wind intensity as well as the kind of damage it can cause. So now, when a hurricane makes landfall, basically you would think that a landfall is considered when a storm is is just arriving, but actually you might be surprised to know that the landfall is not considered to actually occur until the center part of the storm, the eye wall in other words, actually firmly comes on shore. At that point it makes landfall. And these storms, they get their energy off of the warm ocean waters. And when it comes over land and it doesn't have that source anymore, that is why they then tend to start weakening at that point. The worst part of hurricanes come from the northeast quadrant, and that's an area that you have to pay a special attention to for tornadoes and things of that nature. Finally today, a news reporter was caught on live TV exaggerating the force of the hurricane's winds.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intracoastal, and we're in one of these bands. This is about as nasty as it's been. We had some bands like this last night, and then the eye wall this morning, we were not on TV. It was the dark and raucous night at the hotel, and this wind gusting again over 60 miles an hour, things blowing by, pieces of limbs. This is what we're seeing a lot of.
The reporter for the Weather Channel appeared to be in a brace position while 2 guys walked casually behind him. He was reporting live in Wilmington, North Carolina. The graphics on screen indicated that the winds at the time were at 29 miles per hour, gusting to 48 miles per hour. One person on Twitter wrote, "So dramatic. Dude from the Weather Channel bracing for his life, as 2 dudes just stroll past." The Weather Channel came out with a statement saying that the reporter was tired, struggling because he wasn't standing on concrete. CNN's Brian Stelter also came to the reporter's defense, suggesting in part that the reporter was standing on wet grass. Certainly puts a new spin on the term fake news. Well, that's it from the Citizen Report this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Jonathan Shannon, and I hope to see you right back here again next time. Have a great week ahead.